So the goal of C.A.R.s is to try to explore that outer edge, the very perimeter of your ranges of motion. Neck C.A.R.s is pretty simple. It looks like this. We've all kind of done neck circles at some point, right? But it's not just, oh yeah, I'm moving my neck in a circle. It's I'm looking for that point of resistance before I move on to a slightly different range. I might even move around a little bit. And I'm trying to go around really feeling the resistance in different places, taking note of it as I'm going around, feeling out where I can add rotation, what makes sense as I move through this movement pattern, right? So the circular pattern, it's fairly easy. We're hitting 5 actions of the joint, right? We're going flexion, extension, lateral flexion, lateral extension, and also in the other direction, as well as rotation, right? So we're hitting those 5 ranges of motion. And really the goal is here to try and explore for yourself, what sensations am I feeling in the neck as I'm going through this, right? So what we're going to do is go for maybe 3 reps in a row. I'm going to guide you through them, and then I want you to practice this at least one other time between now and tomorrow's check-in. Yeah? Okay, cool. So let's get started. You can't see my hands, but I'm taking my hands and reaching away from my body, right? And then I'm placing them on the floor. This creates a little bit of openness right in this area, which is really important because it's going to stretch out the tissue as you move around. Additionally, it also kind of locks your shoulders down. So to isolate this neck circle, right, what you want to do is focus on the shoulders and make sure that it stays in line. So it's not tilting. Otherwise, then it's lower down in your spine. It's not just your cervical spine, right? So we're in this position. What we're going to do is find our flexion first. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see this a little bit better. My shoulders stay where they are. My chin comes forward towards my chest, and I'm going to reach my forehead down. Now I'm going to keep this action. I should at some point feel resistance. I'm like, I can't go any further. I want to stay in here, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace my chin. I'm going to point my chin over towards my shoulder, and at the same time I'm going to try to bring my forehead over towards my shoulder. So now we have a 2-part leverage going whoop, whoop, looking at my shoulder. And that should feel a little bit different than just straight forward. So we're turning to the side. We feel the resistance. That tells us that, okay, we're in this kind of end range. We're in the right place. From here, keep looking over your shoulder. You're going to try to bring your head back to its neutral position. So now we're out of flexion. We're normal, neutral rather. And we're going to try to think of taking our skull behind our chest. That is going to be extension, right? But we're in a rotated position, so it's rotation and extension at the same time. So we're back here. We should feel some nice things right on this side here. And from here, once we get stuck, you can hang out here for a second, breathe if you need to. We're stuck, so you want to stay in the extension. You've gone as far back as you can go. And you're going to think of taking your chin and your forehead up towards the ceiling or towards whatever's in front of you. If this leverage is a little too harsh, then you can also do this. You're just going to be double chinning, right? So that your neck is still moving your skull behind your chest. And from here, we're going to keep moving over to the other side. Ear down towards that shoulder. At the same time, the chin is also rotating, right? So we're here, we're rotating. Now that we're here, we should feel that expansion on the other side. Chin is going to try to come down towards the collarbone, towards the shoulder. At the same time, the forehead is also trying to bring itself down towards the shoulder as well. That's going to give you a 2-part leverage. And then you're going to round it out. Trace the collarbone with your chin. At the same time, move your forehead back down towards the floor. And we did 1. So I wanted to guide you through that really, really, really slow so that you can kind of find all the nuanced details we're gonna do them slightly faster, right? So we have 2 more on this side, and then we're gonna do 3 on the other. Ready? So we're gonna start out again with our neck flexion. Bring the chin down towards the chest, bring the forehead down as well. Drag the chin over to trace the collarbone so that you're reaching your chin towards that side shoulder. You're also bringing your forehead over to try to face that shoulder as much as you can. Once you're stuck in that rotation, you're going to start bringing your head back up to neutral, and then try to bring your ear behind you. So that's going to bring your skull behind your chest, and you're going to be in extension. You should feel a nice lengthening on one side of the neck, and from here, keep the head back. You want to try to rotate the chin either up towards the ceiling or in front of you, depending on what leverage is most comfortable. And then you're going to keep rotating over to the other side. The head is still behind your chest. And from here, you're going to, once you get stuck in the rotation, bring the chin down towards the shoulder. Try to bring the chin down towards the collarbone if you can. The head is back to neutral, so it's out of the extension. And we're going to drag it back forward. One more just like this. Pass through neutral. We're still in as much flexion as we can. And then we're going to rotate. Trace the collarbone. Look over the shoulder. Try to bring your head back up. Tilt it back so that your skull is behind your chest. Stay in this backwards position, and we're going to rotate. Point the chin forward or up, depending on where you are, and pass through that to point it towards the opposite shoulder. Point it down towards that shoulder to bring your head back up to neutral. And then from here, we're going to trace the chin along the collarbone and look back down to end up back in flexion. You can bring your head up for a second, kind of move it back and forth. From here, 3 in the opposite direction. Ready? So we're going to start with flexion just the same. Chin down, find that point of resistance. Okay, we're stuck. So from here, we're going to go in the opposite direction that we started with, right? So chin down, we're going to trace the opposite side collarbone. And take your time doing that. Feel the sensations on the other side. All those muscles that are lengthening. Once we get here and we can't rotate anymore, you're going to bring your head back behind your chest. Once you're stuck there, rotate the chin up towards the ceiling or forward, and then pass through that middle point so that you can point the chin towards the opposite side shoulder. We're still looking back. At this point, you want to try to bring the chin down towards that shoulder and towards your collarbone, and that's going to bring your head up to neutral, and then start bringing you into flexion as you rotate the chin back forward towards the center of the chest. 2 more, just like that. Rotate over, trace that collarbone. Look at the shoulder as much as you can. Look over your shoulder. Bring the head back behind the chest. Tilt the chin up or forward and rotate in that direction of the opposite shoulder. Eventually you're going to get there. You're going to bring the chin down towards that side shoulder, and then you're going to start tracing the collarbone forward to bring your head forward into flexion. 1 more just like this. Bring it forward, rotate over to the side, trace that side collarbone, look back over the shoulder, bring the head back, rotate the chin up. Pass the middle point, over to the opposite side shoulder. Once you get there, bring the chin down and bring it forward back to flexion. And then you can bring your head up. From there, you can move your head around, move the shoulders around a little bit. So as you can see, it's a lot of little details that you want to hit as you're going through these neck circles. It's not just wee. You can start off with those circles, the looser ones, where you're like, okay, we're just going to start off with these to get a nice little warm up. And then once you feel comfortable, you're going to slow it down. and really try to explore all of those edges, all of the points of resistance that you can find, right? Because that's a good signal to tell you that you are in your end range, or at the edge of your range, is that little bit of resistance because you're like, oh, I can't really go any more forward. So yeah, those are your neck C.A.R.s. Hopefully you can do this at least one more time before we meet again tomorrow. If you have any questions, place them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.